So Mr. No Legs was one of the 3 maybes in the viewer voting pool that eventually gave priority to The Lost Empire a few months ago, which doesn't necessarily mean it can't be a bigger episode at some point, but also doesn't mean it can't just as easily slot into a short take version now, since, okay, as folks who are passingly familiar with the way exploitation movies, especially from the pre-1980s era, worked, probably will not be terribly surprised to learn Mr. No Legs is not in fact actually the star or even the main character of Mr. No Legs. The movie was shot and takes place in Florida under the title Killers Die Hard. When they'd finished, it was clear that of the several cool yet affordable on-hand assets we'd stuffed into the movie to exploit for saleability,
Oh, that's why they call it that.
the presence of a legitimate double amputee black belt as a violent mafia hitman with a tricked-out weaponized wheelchair as one of the supporting characters was far and away the most interesting, so they put him on the poster and made the marketing all about him.
You are about to see scenes from an unusual film about an amazing man.
Plan on starting your own operation here?
You will never forget Mr. No Legs. Don't miss it.
And their instincts were pretty much spot on. This is really the only reason to see this movie or for me to do an episode about it at any length.
He ain't got no legs.
Now, if I was going to stretch this out to a full-length episode, any of that stretch not devoted to Mr. No Legs himself would probably be about the film's creative team, screenwriter Jack Cowden and his brother-in-law, director Rico Browning, a professional swimmer and diving expert turned Hollywood underwater stunt and photography pro, probably still best known as the underwater suit actor for the creature from the Black Lagoon, who along with Cowden was previously responsible for another much more popular and successful Florida-produced media franchise, the 1960s family TV series Flipper. Honestly, Browning's story and Flipper's is interesting enough to easily get a video like this to feature length, but instead I'm going to recommend that you watch a better video than I could hope to make on the same subject. This one. From Knickknacks on Pop Arena, and also go to that channel, watch some of the other episodes, and seriously consider donating to their Patreon. Knickknacks is a show that's basically doing a chronological docuseries history of every series, original, and rerun that ever aired on Nickelodeon. Their research is great, their commentary is interesting, provocative, empathetic, genuinely educational, and often profoundly moving. It's one of my favorite things on YouTube right now, and I cannot recommend it enough. This is not a paid endorsement, it's not an ad, not a commercial, nobody asked me in any way to say any of this. I just think this is one of the truly, deeply, actually good pop culture channels, and I just think more people should be watching and supporting it, sincerely. And this episode is a great example of why it's so good, because I can't imagine that many people in 2025 are hugely invested in Flipper, the pet dolphin show from the mid-60s that millennials maybe remember watching as reruns on Nickelodeon in the 90s, but you will come away from this having learned so much about TV history and science you maybe didn't know. And also, yeah, if you were a Nickelodeon kid in the 80s or 90s and you haven't found Knickknacks yet, their episodes about things like Pete and Pete or Nick Studios or even stuff like Nick News, well, I can't speak for everyone, but I can't imagine not being deeply moved by it in some way.
That made water come out my eyes.
Anyway, like I said, Mr. No Legs is a 1978, no, really, this is 1 year after Star Wars, exploitation movie in the purest sense of the word. The plot is boilerplate, convoluted crime thriller made of equal parts, cop words everyone knows strung together till it sounds like a sequence of events, and people, places, and things they could afford to hire and or film that will probably hold an audience's attention when things like story making sense and technical craftsmanship being good will not. There's a cop named Andy whose sister overdoses, so he and his partner Chuck go over the head of their captain, who is played by John Agar, basically on hand so the filmmakers can claim that an actor people might have at one point heard of is in the movie.
Oh, you were quite a left foot in your day, sir.
68 miles an hour when I won that one.
No, Captain, really? 68? Was it that fast?
It's getting rather risky. I'm going to need a bigger slice.
To tear around Tampa from scene to scene, roughing up colorful underworld characters for information, getting in fights and spurring the drug kingpin they're actually looking for, to also rough people up, start fights, and set off betrayals among his lieutenants, basically unleashing a series of mostly disconnected violent scenes in different locations until there are enough of those scenes and it adds up to something like a movie.
Right.
All units stand by. Emergency 1033 traffic.
You lying bitch, when I get through with your ass, baby, you won't even be able to give it away.
Is this man, Lieutenant?
Mike, got your call. Is it going down? Yeah, this is it. I'm sorry.
Well, back to the old clock and dagger routine.
So you get beatdowns and shootouts, more shootouts. Guy attacks a car with a sword. There's a bar brawl featuring a little person, and however this character would have identified in 1978, it's not really clarified in the film. They're just sort of there existing, since they always have been.
I don't believe in touching. Can I buy you a drink? I'd love it.
Wait! You little bastard!
Oh, and Mr. No Legs, the actual villain's main enforcer, a hitman whose wheelchair conceals weapons, but will also just beat your ass with no legs karate.
That's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
In a subplot that crops up between Act 2 and the finale, Mr. No Legs starts making moves to usurp his boss if the cops get too close to the operation, but ultimately he doesn't become the main villain.
That was very good.
He mostly gets a pair of cool kill scenes and one big here's what this guy can actually do fight scene to himself, and it's pretty awesome. The character was played by Ted Vollrath, a U.S. Marines Korean War veteran who lost both his legs in combat and who'd subsequently become the first wheelchair-using person to attain a black belt in Isshin Ryu Karate in 1967. That's an incredible accomplishment, and whatever else you say about Mr. No Legs, it's not the sort of movie that has either the technical capability or inclination to fake the sort of things we see Vollrath do in it, which of course is the reason he's here. That guy has no legs and he's whooping the hell out of these other guys with martial arts is the spectacle of his big fight scenes, and the filmmakers clearly know it's the selling point.
Gentlemen.
They shoot the heck out of it, and he gets the tricked out wheelchair, and everyone in the movie literally and figuratively bends over backwards, selling as convincingly as anything else on screen that Mr. No Legs, despite entering and exiting every scene in what at first looks like a normal mid-70s wheelchair, and is usually looking up at all the other characters, is the hardest, scariest dude in a movie that's all hard, scary dudes. Yeah, it's because he's the most, hey, check out this different stuff, part of a hey, check out this different stuff movie, but it's just not how you saw hardly any other disabled actors or characters, period, in most movies of that era. It's something.
Get lost, babe.
Vollrath, who passed away in 2001, wouldn't end up doing much more acting after this. He mainly devoted his life to family, teaching, and training further in the martial arts, and in particular doing disability and fitness advocacy. He actually kept, or possibly reproduced, it's not entirely clear, one of the tricked-up chairs from the movie and would incorporate it into his fitness and martial arts demonstrations later in life. In fact, for a long time, his appearances were pretty much the main surviving records of Mr. No Legs having existed as a movie. After its initial run on the drive-in circuit, it didn't really find much of a second life on cable or rentals, possibly because apart from Vollrath's scenes, there really isn't that much going on in it, and it's neither super violent or explicit enough to rile up the grindhouse set otherwise. For a while, it was actually thought that the only non-bootleg print had been lost to Hurricane Sandy in 2012, but a restored version compiled from different elements was released back in 2021 by the indie distributor Massacre Video. So if you want to find this, you can. It's an oddity on one hand, a mostly forgettable footnote, on the other hand, a visual record of an actually pretty extraordinary person that genuinely demonstrates his extraordinariness. I mean, the one thing you come away from this thinking is, man, that one guy seemed pretty cool, and then if you happen to look him up, it turns out, well, goddamn, that guy was pretty cool. And as for the rest of the movie, it certainly exists.